In the 50s, there was Elvis. In the 60s, there was the Beatles. In the 70s, there was Led Zeppelin. And in the 80s, there was Medieval Jesus. The 80s was a beautiful era for music, but it wasn't until a fourth, soon to be three-piece, stepped onto the scene and took the unsuspecting world by the gonads. Theirs is a story of flying highs and crushing lows, a story of sex, drugs and rock and roll, a story of loss, passion and mainly money, but most of all, a story of how anyone can accomplish anything if the night they were signed, their manager was drunk. It was a blend of brains and beauty, power yet subtlety, and a whole lot of rock and roll. Although they will always be remembered as gods, things weren't always that way. Luke Walker started life in the quiet town of Chapel-on-Frith. Though he performed well on an academic level, Luke's passion was always metal. Having been the star piece of a number of otherwise mediocre bands, Luke met Slaps and Lightning Fingers in 1983, whom he ironically no longer speaks to. Slaps was born in Whaley Bridge, and that's where he lived up until his musical career. Although his style was heavily influenced by jazz, mainly Charles Parker Jr. and Sidney Bechet, by 15 he was playing bass lines of a different persuasion, bass lines which would change the face of rock music forever.
I suppose my dad was very into jazz, and I used to watch them there slapping their basses and the sounds they could make, and I just thought, you know what, I want to be that cool.
Lightning Fingers, better known for his delicious riffage than his catchy nickname, was born in the sleepy town of New Mills. As a keen musician, he developed an enthusiasm for the guitar, and so ignited a fiery affair that would help propel Medieval Jesus to superstardom. By the age of 12, he was a grade A in guitar physics, and also a virtuoso bass player, but nowhere near as good as Slaps. He was teaching the likes of Joe Satriani and Slash, who would later go on to play guitar in the band Guns N' Roses. Richard, better known as Skins, joined the band in 1985. Familiar with the long arm of the law, Richard was a somewhat risky addition, but his technical prowess and reputation as a ladies' man made him an instant favourite with the boys, especially Luke. A self-proclaimed cocaine addict, suffering from long-term drug-induced paranoia, Richard had imposed a bizarre court order stopping himself being photographed with fellow band members. Once Skins was on board, it was a mere 3 weeks before they were spotted by top record executive Ken Burns at the Roadhouse in Manchester.
I grew up in Kensington and I went to Cambridge to study musical science. It was there that I developed my talent for spotting talent. Remember Hairy Mary? I signed them.
From there it was a hop, skip and a jump from small-time pub band to international rock gods.
I remember the first night after that gig. We were all a bit rowdy. We stayed at the Piccadilly Hotel. Richard, God rest his soul, was a bit high. It's what he liked to do. I remember having to pay £100 for a smashed window. It was nothing really. I mean, I'd be making much more than that. Well, let's not split hairs.
I think I can really relate to the great gods of music, Hendrix, Robert Plant, Lulu. We all have one thing in common, and that's this creative mindset.
I've always wanted to be the best. I am the best, so don't even try.
Slaps his fiercely driving, rolling basses are magnificent.
Despite the success of their debut album and tour, the band began to buckle under the weight of the various successes that accompany extreme fame.
As the band started to make more money, we developed expensive habits. I was spending £320 a week on my perm alone. Adam wanted to maintain his natural blonde look. And Rick was addicted to crack.
Richard Skins McCowell was really going off the rails. So I got the band together and I said, you need to sort yourself out. It's not good for your image.
The band was heading for a fall. It wasn't long before something had to give. Shortly after the release of their second album, Code Annihilate, they landed themselves in hot water over anti-religious imagery on the front cover. The band further muddied their reputation when lead guitarist Lightning Fingers was slammed for making anti-Semitic comments on Radio 6's talk show.
But surely you can't believe that.
I'm not saying Hitler was right. I just think he had the right idea when he said to the Jews, look, either f*** off back or get burned. And despite making a public apology, things never really were the same for medieval Jesus. I recognise that some listeners may have found what I said offensive, and I must stress that the opinions expressed should not be in any way associated with my manager Ken Burns. I sincerely regret the event on both a personal and professional level and hope you will still listen to Medieval Jesus. However, this event was somewhat overshadowed by a completely unexpected tragedy.
He was a brilliant drummer. People forget just how fast he could beat those skins.
I'll always have fond memories of Richard as a great musician and a great friend. Now, when I say great musician, nowhere near as good as me.
He could really beat them skins.
Skins McHelm are the biggest percentage. I think it was around 2%. I used to joke and call him Richie Rich. You can have that one.
At the end of the day, the doctors can say what they want. I think he died of a broken heart.
Unfortunately, this event signified the beginning of the end for one of the most dominant musical forces in history. Though they tried to continue, recording of their third album was abandoned when it became evident Luke couldn't sing and drum at the same time.
Luke was a beautiful man. Stop laughing! Do you know who I am? I'm Ken Burns.
Despite Ken's feelings, the band were unable to continue.
Talked to The Voice in years. Had a bit of an argument. I won't give too much away. It was over a 4-figure sum.
I just don't like to talk about him, really.
No, me neither.
On top of this, Slap states that during the entire time they were signed under Ken Burns, they didn't earn a penny due to the lucrative contract.
As much as I appreciate our initial break thanks to Ken Burns can go to hell because I am living in absolute squalor and I should be living the life of a king.
What do you mean I fleeced them? You get a f***ing camera off me.
Like yesterday, we used to rock the show. I laced the track, you locked the flow. So far from hanging on the block for dough. Notorious, they got to know that life ain't always what it seemed to be. Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Through your family, I'll fulfill your dreams. In the future, can't wait to see if you open up the gates for me. Reminisce sometime, the night they took my friend. Try to black it out, but it plays again. When it's real, feeling's hard to conceal. Can't imagine all the pain I feel. Give anything to hear half your breath. I know you're still living your life after death. Watching us while we pray for you. Every day we pray for you. Till the day we meet again. In my heart is where I keep you, friend. Memories give me the strength I need to proceed. Strength I need to believe. My thoughts big, I just can't define. Wish I could turn back the hands of time. Us in the 6, shop for new clothes and kicks. You and me taking flicks.